The rights for this had been going around town since 1989.
That's the year Do the Right Thing.
Cut to 2019, I got a call. The rights became available. And then by 2021, we closed that deal. We got a screenplay and sent it off to Denzel. And before he even called us to say he was in, he had already talked to Spike.
It's integrity. That's what you stand for.
I think you gotta be a little crazy sometimes in this world to get what you want.
Going back to even the early days of your career, you've had somewhat of a Kurosawa influence with films like She's Gotta Have It, which has this sort of Rashomon structure to it. Any thoughts on that looking back?
And while you graduated film school, that's how I was really introduced to world cinema. And the film Rashomon took that basic thing about a story being told, and it's up to the audience, you know what happened. You know, it was a rape and a murder. So I just used that basic premise for She's Gotta Have It, where there's Nola Darling, the heroine of the film, has 3 boyfriends, and everybody talks about what their relationship is. Denzel Washington called me up, said I got this script. I said I'm gonna send it tomorrow. Once I read the script, I knew this is not gonna be a remake. This is a reinterpretation. Denzel and I were jazz musicians. We were Coltrane and Miles Davis. We'd take songs from the Great American Songbook, and that was our approach. We're jazz musicians, so we weren't doing remakes. We were doing reinterpretations through the African American experience.
So when it came to A$AP Rocky's character in this, I believe his music is very different from the characters.
He did it on purpose.
Yeah.
He said this music is coming from the character I'm playing, Young Fella, not A$AP Rocky.
Mm-hmm. And so what conversations led to that? Was that just all him from the beginning?
Nah, we talked about it. He told me, I said, let's go. He's a great artist, you know, so I'm not gonna put handcuffs on him.
Yeah, you know when to back off.
The thing is, though,
yeah.
we waited a long time for those songs, so that was a thing, man. It was like, these rap guys, man, they're like on their own schedule.
My next question is actually for all 3 of you. Such a big part of that reinterpretation through this lens of culture comes from the surroundings that we constantly see the main character in.
When it came to trying to figure out who David King was, we wanted to make sure that he came across as a creative man, not just a businessman, a man who understood culture and understood art, and it made the most sense to use the collection of the man who inspired the film. So I got to work with Spike, choosing the pictures, where each picture would go, how it might play. We don't have actual Basquiat's, and they're not actual, the real ones up there. We did copy them with permission. The best part of the design of the show was getting to work with Spike on the art, and how that knitted together the vision of the director and the character he was helping to create. The penthouse apartment. We chose this apartment with probably the best view you could have. It's literally situated on the 29th floor between the Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge, looking at Manhattan. Normally, we would put a piece of cloth out there with a photograph on it and kind of hope you didn't notice. But we really wanted you to notice. It's a movie about a man who's high and a man who's not, and the high had to be spectacular and exalted. And in fact, from his apartment, you could see Stacking Hits, and from Stacking Hits, you could see the Olympia Dumbo, and it was all sort of part of this exalted life up high where David lives.
This movie deals with a man wrestling with how much he is or isn't still in touch with the culture, and I was wondering how much of that was a guiding principle for you as well.
No. And this is no disrespect, my brother.
No, of course, completely.
This is about morals and scruples. I mean, that's what made the great novel. And for me, this film's about morals and scruples. From like, what will you do? And when you have a great actor like Tish Mufun and Denzel Washington, the audience is in their shoes. And people or think about what if they were in a position, what would they do to give up everything they have for a child that's not theirs?
Jason, was hoping to get was hoping for you to get a word in as well on at what point you joined this project and just working with the great Spike Lee.
I got involved in 2019. The rights had been with another producer, and they had lapsed.
How many people had the right? It went around town,
It
right?
went around town. The rights for this had been going around town since 1989. And the
That's the year
original,
Do the Right Thing.
the original movie came out, I believe, in 1963. Ed McBain's book came out in 1958. And 1989, some executive in Hollywood was like, we should remake High and Low. So cut to 2019, I got a call. The rights became available. It took 2 years to negotiate the rights with the Kurosawa estate because everything in Japan takes more time. Every time we sent the contract back, it would take 2 months to come back. And then by 2021, we closed that deal. We got a screenplay and sent it off to Denzel. And literally before we even heard back from Denzel, we sent it to him on a Thursday. I think he read it on a Friday or Saturday. And before he even called us to say he was in, he had already talked to Spike. Some of my favorite movies were He Got Game, 25th Hour, and She's Gotta Have It, and Inside Man. I mean, these were the movies that I grew up with. And so the fact that, as somebody who's in their early 40s, that I got an opportunity to work with the incredible Spike Lee, it doesn't even seem real. And then with Spike Lee and Denzel Washington, it was like, how did this all happen? But the process of making the movie here in New York was incredible. We shot the movie over 49 days. The city was just so helpful to the production because it was a Spike Lee joint.
I'd like to say, this Denzel is such an amazing actor. And at the end of the song, at the end of the movie with this song Ayana sings, she did like 8 or 9 takes. She was singing live. When Barry Brown was cutting this together, we saw Denzel's face. And, how many times in the movie you hear the line says, I have the best ears in the business. So we're in the editing room with Barry, and we're looking at Denzel emote. And then I got the idea, like, look, this guy has the best ears in the business. So the first verse, he already knows she could sing. He already knows she's going to sign her. Beginning is just piano. But if you listen clearly, first a bass comes in, so becomes a big, big thing. And that was Denzel to hit me to that. He's signed already. In his mind, he's thinking about the charts and orchestration when we go in the studio. So if you ever see it again, notice how that scene is just Ayana on a piano. But before the song ends, it's big. Anybody notice that? If Denzel could do that with his face, I would never thought of that. That's his genius. If he wasn't doing with his body and his face, it would never have made me think about his character, who he is. And so it's not a question where he's going to sign or not. He's thinking about, what am I going to do? We can't just put a record out with her and a piano. So that orchestration was in his mind, and that came from Denzel.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.